this is how moms can level up their family's nutrition.
As a dietitian, would you say that it's safe for kids to take supplements and superfoods? Then what would you recommend for mothers looking to enhance their child's nutritional value?
No, superfoods are the optimal delivery system for any fortification in your diet, simply because they're in their natural form. They're designed for consumption, chewing, mastication, which introduces all your salivary enzymes. And so when it gets down there, it's in the exact form it's supposed to be. And that you can't improve on.
And that speaks on what we talked about in another segment, about the perfect form of nutrition, OEM. OEM.
Original equipment manufacturer.
So superfoods are OEM because they have all of the various components that are needed for your body to digest those foods, correct?
Absolutely.
So having children eating superfoods, for example, is optimal. Can you explain how a mother can incorporate superfoods into their child's diet without, battling the taste?
Absolutely. The number one thing that any mom enjoys is when she can make it fun for her kids. And so if you can make superfood snacks fun for your kids, accommodate your quality requirements, and know that you're doing good for your kids. And they're going to feel better later, and they're not going to have a sugar hangover, and you'll just have better kids.
Yeah, and better health long term, even as an adult.
Absolutely.
So why would you say that it's important in today's society specifically, because we're surrounded by so many chemicals that maybe 2 generations ago, they didn't experience the same thing growing up. Why would you say today it's so important for mothers to pay attention to what they feed their children?
Simply because there are so many artificial ingredients around us and on us and in our environment and in our drinking water and everywhere. So we have to be diligent because the dose is really getting to significance. And if you can eliminate one possible avenue of getting artificial ingredients into you, then do it through consumption, because it's by far the biggest dose of what you internalize outside of breathing. Eliminating a lot of exposure, your body can take an insult, but long term, it starts to wear down. But most of all, the dose. Everything's dose dependent. And even water at too much can kill you. But obviously you need water. Without it, you die. So finding that middle ground, and if you want to see artificial ingredients in that paradigm, put it where the other toxic things that can be, where you find arsenic in your soil and it's taken up by vegetables, but it's in such minute amounts. So unless there's a lot of processing involved, you really won't even notice it. All these general insults to the body are expected, and your body's built for that. So maintain the ability to take insults, but limit the dose of what you expose yourself and your kids to for long-term health.
Yeah, that's very important because, of course, when you're processing certain foods that have high contexts of toxins, then that's ultimately even worse for our body. And now we process everything, right? So being a consumer myself and also our audience watching, how can you just gauge what type of supplements or even superfoods, because those are even processed, are better and safer? Because right now there's even a topic on moringa and how there's lead and other contaminants that are harming people's health. How can we as consumers watch out for that? And how does MRM filter those things?
Well, we have our own in-house testing that we do, and we sub out to third-party testing for all the usual toxins and so forth. And we've rejected several batches from India where moringa is grown wildly, and it's quite abundant, and its use in the culture has been actually as a detoxifiant, mostly for water supplies. It pulls out heavy metals out of water. It's flocculent. And so it has a rich history, but understanding these aspects and that this type of plant will aggregate any minerals it comes in contact to, be it heavy, toxic minerals and so forth. So material handling is integral for any importing company. And they should be testing all their lots, but some gets through. Fortunately, that's the first line for us. And testing all our ingredients that we put into our plant is very important.
Great. And as far as other companies go, what would you wish other companies did differently when it comes to creating nutritional products for children and families?
Well, that's two points. One is maintaining proper ingredients and GMPs and so forth, good manufacturing practices. And the FDA has set out guidelines, and they audit facilities regularly like ours. And it's a good policy. And honestly, in the last 10, 20 years, we've made great strides in bringing contamination out of our food supply. There's still going to be some exposure here and there and so forth, but we keep making strides at bringing everybody's level of quality up. The secondarily part is formulating and how the approach to formulation is. And unfortunately, in the Western side of formulation, more is better. And in the holistic term of things, all is better. So getting all the isomers, getting the full array of fatty acids when we were talking about fish oils and so forth, but getting what's replicated by nature, because that's what we're designed for. And I know it might be higher when they concentrate things, but it doesn't always mean it's better for you. So don't be fooled by that, but just know that natural, and there's companies that will stand out and say, we formulate to these standards. And so getting to know who your supplement or who your food manufacturer is really important. And a lot of companies are becoming more transparent, and it's becoming better, and especially with the government forcing transparency, I think it's better for all.
I'd love to go back to that question again, because there were just some interesting points that we spoke about earlier, where there's still companies out there that are processing things and adding ingredients and adding. So from the perspective of, being a consumer, going to the grocery store and even purchasing things that say organic and clean, looking at the ingredients and seeing a whole host of seed oils and what other preservatives that they use. Like what would you say that you wish companies did differently when it comes to creating products for children?
Well, marketing isn't everything, and putting some of the money into the ingredient deck is something that I'd love to see more of. And it's not that it tastes sweeter and it tastes like a cereal that they've grown up with and so forth, but really putting it into the ingredients instead of taking the shortcuts to all these separated highly processed ingredients. Think of more holistically and putting more natural ingredients into your foodstuffs.
Yeah, and there's even a lot of companies, for example, you go to the grocery store and there's a whole host of cereals that have so much sugar and additives and chemicals and artificial flavors and even natural flavors, right? How would you say that mothers can start stepping away from those products and start adding MRM, superfoods, for example? How can a mother start incorporating those things while making it easy and seamless for the child that's also transitioning?
Yeah, and if you're trying to make it fun for them, like we do in our products, we use beet powder for reds, and we use our spirulina for the greens, and there's the cumin for all the yellows. But mixing that in with some type of other preparation and just using it for its color is really, you're getting a dose of vitamins in with it. So anytime you can take something that's familiar, it's not so bad for them, and you can just do a one-up on it, it's a great opportunity.
Amazing. Thank you, Mark, for talking to me about upgrading your pantry. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.